until the philosophy which hold one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Everywhere is war. It's a war that until they're no longer first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. Miss a war that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race. This a war that until that day the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, rule of international morality will remaining but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained. Now everywhere is war, war, and until the ignoble and unhappy regime that hold our brothers in Angola, in Mozambique, South Africa, subhuman bondage have been toppled, totally destroyed. Well, everywhere is war. Miss a war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south, war, war, rumors of a war. And until that day, the African continent will not know peace. We Africans will fight, we find it necessary, and we know we shall win, as we are confident in the victory of good over evil. Good over evil, yeah. Good over evil.
Peace and greetings, family. This is WHCR 90.3 FM. You're listening to PJ Show with your host, Pojanee PJ Fleury. We're doing something different this week as the show progresses and we develop the different segments. This week, we're going to start our news segment, and my brother and colleague, Malachi Knowledge God Allah, will be joining me for this segment as a co-host. Welcome to the show, Malachi. Malachi Knowledge God Allah.
Yes, peace, sis. Thank you for the invitation. It's definitely an honor.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Yes. Malachi is my attribute. Malachi Knowledge God Allah. I've been writing with the New York Amsterdam News for 17 years. Before that, I was writing with the Source magazine and Feds magazine, hiphopwired.com, and Hip Hop Weekly magazine as well. You know, I mostly cover social and cultural issues, you know, and a lot of relevant things going on here in the city, dealing with social politics and things of that nature.
I'm also writing now for Brown Eyes Magazine, and you can see many of his articles on the website.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that as well.
Yes, of course. No, we're definitely kindred spirits in terms of understanding the landscape from different angles, and we're from different perspectives as well, which is why I definitely wanted to collaborate with you in this way. It's really important that we get a grasp of not only like the macro level, which is what I've been doing so far in terms of interviewing community leaders and organizers, but there are some micro things also that we want to be paying attention to. You know, the everyday news and happenings in our community. So with that, let's get into some topics. The first topic that we're going to discuss today is the surge in violence in New York City. New York City has kind of been known for its crime, but it seems in recent years things have been, you know, in my opinion, the worst it's been. And with this recent issue with the twins, Spain, in Brooklyn, both sisters were stabbed. One sister, unfortunately, fatally.
Yeah, it happened on Sunday morning around 2:30 in the morning at in Park Slope, Brooklyn, on 4th Avenue and St. Mark's. And, you know, it was crazy from, like, the reports that I read, you know, like you mentioned, the two sisters were going to the store. It was at about 2:20 in the morning. And from the information I came across was that, you know, he was trying to push up on them and they negated him. And he left and came back with a knife and, like you said, stabbed the one who ended up transitioning, Samia, stabbed her in the neck and the chest, and then the other sister, he stabbed her in the arm. And when he left, but people took pictures that were there, they witnessed it, and they took pictures and stuff. So he turned himself in yesterday morning from the reports that I read. And he was out of Bushwick. His name is VIL Kelly. He was 20 years old. The twins were 19. And you know what it is that a lot of people, a lot of men, or so-called men, a lot of males, you know, they're insecure with themselves and they can't accept rejection.
You know, when these things happen in our communities, there's a lot of mourning, but there's not a lot of organizing that happens. I want, for once, to see people in the streets denouncing this so that other people, other men, and I know it's not just men, a higher percentage of men, because men are, you know, usually in a position to make advancements, right? That's for a long time has been like kind of like the natural way where men are, you know, taking the lead on that. And so they're the ones facing a lot of rejection. And it does create a situation where egos are bruised and things like that. And if you're not in the right frame of mind, mental health is obviously on the rise. We can see that with these types of incidences. Things that you wouldn't normally see happen, like, let's just say when I was growing up in the 90s, in the 2000s, early 2000s, if a man got aggressive with a woman in the street, you know, other men would be around to kind of curb that. But it seems like there's been more violence against women in the streets. It happened in Harlem. The sister that was in the liquor store, some men offered to buy her wine. She said no. She, you know, politely declined and bought her own wine. But leaving the store, they jumped and robbed her. I believe it was like 5 men. And one of the men bit her, like was trying to bite her eye out or something, you know, like just really crazy, like savage and brutality in the streets of New York City.
Yeah, that's real. Again, there's no excuse for that. You know, a lot of it has been coming more to light since the pandemic. You know, people blaming it on people being, you know, locked down, the pressures and all that. You know, but there's no justification for that. You know, what I think is that it's being reported more. You know what I mean? Now than before. But, you know, but to tell you the truth, even when I was young, I never really recall hearing about incidents like that in the hood. Like, you know, most of the stuff we heard about was, you know, people committing crimes against each other because of money, like, men against men and stuff like that, but, it's not good that it's happening. It's good that at least it's getting reported, though. You know what I'm saying? To bring more light to it. But it's messed up, man. Like, real talk. Dudes that do that, obviously got other issues they dealing with. You know what I mean? Because everybody know we supposed to protect the women, man. Like, there's no way that you could justify that. You know what I mean? Mental health or not, because another dude to blow your head off for messing with their daughter or their sister, no matter how crazy you are, you won't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's what I was saying. We should be in the streets denouncing this kind of violence. Not just, okay, we're working on gun violence responses here in Harlem. I know there's a faith-based led initiative. I'm sure it's in all of the boroughs, but there's a lot of focus right now on gun violence. And in many ways it could be, put in a context of the deadliest kind of violence, but there's still a lot of other kind of violence that goes on in our communities, and we should be in the streets every time denouncing so that other people understand that this is wrong. Like you said, mental health or not, we need to get control of our communities. We need to make statements saying we're not going to tolerate certain behaviors in our communities. If we see you doing something, we need to be, and unfortunately, life is tough, especially now, right? So I don't want to harp on people who are just have enough energy to get to work and, maybe make a meal and get through the day, right? But the people who do have the time, the young people who are just on TikTok doing dances, let's help each other grow. Let's help each other become more positive, strengthen our bonds with each other. And also, as we're talking about violence, right? As we're talking about getting control of our communities, what happens is if we don't, this is a chronic problem, if we don't, the outside, forces like the government, right, they will step in to control the community, right? That's their job, right? That's what they're commissioned to do. So Governor Hochul has instituted a response to the violence specifically throughout MTA, especially in the subways, right? New York City has the underground subway system, also notorious for its crime. But usually, if you are on the, train regular hours, day hours or whatever, early evening, not overnight, it gets a little dicey, right? But certainly during the day, you could feel safe to ride the train. There has been a lot of incidences throughout the pandemic, and now coming out of the pandemic in these recent years, there's been a surge of violence in the subway. So now Governor Hochul has to, they had to take this situation seriously. They had to. So her response now is to call in the National Guard, call in state troopers, state police, and beef up the NYPD presence as well. There are going to be more checkpoints, and eventually it's on the table for mandatory bag checks when going on to the MTA. What's your opinion, Brother Malachi?
Yeah, that's ill. Like, they're bringing it back to 9/11. Like, shortly after 9/11, they enacted the Patriot Act, which nullified the U.S. Constitution, and due to the U.S. Constitution, we have the right to privacy. So, like, law enforcement are not allowed to just run up on you and search you without probable cause, So, they're using the surge in violence on a subway system as an excuse to violate people's constitutional rights. You know what I mean? It's illegal. Like, what they're gonna do is, like, they're gonna lock you up if you say no. You know what I'm saying? Or what are the charges? You know what I mean?
Well, they said that you can, legally, you could just leave and you could say no, but you'll be asked to leave, basically. So you don't have to consent, but you won't be riding the train.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Is a public transportation system. How can they stop you from being on? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make no sense.
Lord. I mean, I will feel safer if the bags were checked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, from what I've seen on the news, they stopping people in Grand Central, Penn Station. Or that's not where the crime is happening at. You know what I mean? Crime's happening on the subways and in the ghetto part of the city. You know what I mean? And then
not really. It's all over. I mean, of course, places like in the Bronx, and I don't want to call out any specific neighborhood or borough like that, but that there's we're in New York City. We know certain areas, certain train stations are a little rougher, let's just say, than Grand Central.
Yeah. I mean, like, even in Grand Central is like the major hub during the weekdays. How are they gonna stop and search everybody's bag? You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't make no sense. Like,
I see what you're saying on that. But if they can find a weapon and take that, or just deter people from carrying weapons onto MTA, of course, we know about the shooting that happened on a Brooklyn subway. The man is not going to be charged and everything. It's a little, we have these controversial things, and of course, people can kill each other without the use of weapons. But I think that guns and knives should not be in such a public place like that. There's women and children. Why should someone be able to bring a gun into the system?
I agree with you. At the same time, people, the ones that are committing crimes, are not going to carry a gun or a knife in the bag. They're going to carry it on their personal. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what the National Guard searches for, they're not going to find it. They're doing that as an intimidating factor, because people will see the National Guard and they'll feel like they're being protected. That's what it is. Like the ones that the government are trying to protect, that's why they want that presence in Grand Central and Penn Station, where they mostly at, so they can feel safe. They don't care about us, you know what I'm saying, about the general public. They're protecting the money part of New York City. You know what I mean? And again, like, the people committing the crimes are not going to carry their weapons in the bag, especially now they know they're being searched. They'll carry it on their personal. And there's different ways. Like, real criminals know how to hide certain things, you know what I mean? And again,
like you said, it's an intimidation tactic, right? If you see, and they're not going to be carrying long guns. Governor Hochul did respond to that. There were people that were concerned that the National Guard would be there with the long rifles, and honestly, they should intimidate criminals. They should intimidate. I wouldn't feel intimidated because I know I'm going into the MTA system to get to where I need to go. My intention is not to harm anyone, so I'm good. If you feel intimidated, maybe it's because, you have something and you feel like you're going to get busted. They're already, taking pictures pretty much of, on video of pretty much everything that goes on down in MTA. They have police officers that have been, walking the beat. There's train crew and all of that, but none of that has helped quell crime. So what do you suggest? If it's not National Guard and more police presence, what do you think would make the MTA safer?
Oh, I mean, it would be community control like anything else. Like, the people, like, not so much now, but I remember years ago, like, you had movements like different organizations throughout the city that, kept the streets safe, like Sonny Carson, and the Black Watch movement out in Brooklyn. You had Zulu Nation up in the Bronx. You had, the 5%ers pretty much throughout the city. You had, the Guardian Angels to an extent as well, and then you had other local groups that were doing things that weren't as known as well. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you go into certain communities and there's people or there's groups that are only specific to that community, so they don't get the press or the media attention like other groups do. Yet they put in the same amount of work and they keep their community safe. You know what I mean? So we need more of that. We need people in their own individual communities to get together and just put groups together. It doesn't take a lot, Just put a few people together and monitor your area, keep things safe. And also education is key, because as long as you're educating the youth and letting them know right from wrong, giving them opportunities for employment, they're not going to be out there being savages in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Sonny Carson, and there's been a few soldiers that we lost recently. Of course, the great Viola Plummer, and of course, Ralph Pointer. So I know that you attended Ralph Pointer's memorial at Riverside Church. Tell us about that.
Yes. Before that, I would like to also mention Sekou Odinga and that line of great people we recently lost as well.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ralph Pointer. Ralph Pointer is another unsung hero. Him and his wife, Lynn Stewart, she's an unsung hero in the community. They went to and got educations, and instead of looking for jobs so they could live out in the burbs and live affluently, they took the knowledge they gained from the education to give back to the people, on the grassroots level. You know what I'm saying? And, there was a memorial for Ralph on this Thursday evening just passed, and it was a great turnout, man. Like, a lot of people came out. There was numbers there. It's the quality of the people that was there. Pan Africa representing Move from Philadelphia came through. Zaid Muhammad, formerly with the New Black Panther Party. Well, I can't say formerly, he may still be with them, but I know he's out of North Jersey. He was there. Charles Barron, Operation Power, him and his wife and several others were there, and many others. There was people from the Nation of Islam there as well, and they came out and they gave him a well-deserved memorial. Ralph made his transition in December. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was on Christmas Day at 89 years old. Thursday was his 90th birthday, so that's why the memorial was held that day at Riverside Church. And, again, people came out and honored him and his legacy for the work that he's done. And actually the organization, the event was put together by Sister Betty Davis, who's a comrade of theirs,
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, so she helped put it together. And, they spoke about Ralph. Ralph was a member of Malcolm X's Organization of African American Unity back in the 60s, right? And, he was inspired greatly by Malcolm and his work and many other movements, grassroots movements from that era. And he continued on his work, One of the things that I wanted to mention, and Sister Betty actually wants me to do it on her radio show, that one of the great aspects of Ralph's legacy is that he helped a lot of political prisoners. He represented a lot of political prisoners and did research on their cases. And one of them, who is not really considered a political prisoner yet, he was. And the reason he wasn't considered one is because he wasn't affiliated with any revolutionary movement. right? And this is brother Larry Davis, aka Hood Hero, aka Adam Abdul Hakim, you know, and brother Ralph did the research on for Larry Davis's case when he got into a shootout with over 30 police in the Bronx in November 1986 and survived it. Not only survived it, he got away and was on the run for about 2 or 3 weeks before he got captured, right? And Ralph as the investigator, he did the research which discovered that the police shot at him first, right? So that's how Larry Davis was able to prove, or that's how Lynn Stewart, who was the attorney that represented Larry, was able to prove that Larry shot the police in self-defense because of the research that Ralph did. It proved that the police shot at him first, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the first time and maybe the only time ever in history where a man, especially a black man, got off in self-defense of shooting police. He shot 6 officers. It was over 30 that ran there. There was 6 of them that he injured, and he got off. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of Ralph's legacy. And because if not, you know, Larry, you know, he got framed up for that. And but that's part of it. Another thing is that Larry, check that on Ralph and Lynn, they represented a lot of people just on the strength, like people that didn't have no money, people poor from the community who didn't have the resources for representation in court, you know, and they did it just on the strength of the love for the people in the community. You know what I mean? Ralph and his wife Lynn. So it was a great turnout, man. I'm glad that you know, people respected and sent him home that way, because a lot of times there's people who put in the work for the benefit of the community, and they're unsung heroes. People forget about them. People don't appreciate it while they're here, and definitely not after they're gone. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good turnout for Brother Ralph and the memory of his wife as well, Sister Lynn Stewart. You know.
Yes. Both amazing revolutionaries, and we say rest in power to Brother Ralph. And thank you for the work that you have done, brother. It won't be forgotten.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Brother Malachi. Knowledge, God, Allah.
Peace and prosperity.
Peace, brother. This is WHCR 90.3 FM. We'll be right back after this brief break.
Get a fast car. I want a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. You get a fast car. I got a plan to get us out of here. Been working at the convenience store. Managed to save just a little bit of money. Won't have to drive too far. Just cross the border and into the city. You and I can both get jobs and finally see what it means to be living. See, my old man's got a problem. Yeah, with the bottle, that's the way it is. He says his body's too old for working. His body's too young to look like his. My mama went off and left him. She wanted more from life than he could give. I said, somebody's got to take care of him. So I quit school and that's what I did. You got a fast car. Is it fast enough so we can fly away? We gotta make a decision. Leave tonight or live and die this way. So remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. You got a fast car. We go cruise and entertain ourselves. Still ain't got a job. Now work in the market as a checkout girl. I know things will get better. You'll find work and I'll get promoted. We'll move out of the shelter, buy a bigger house and live in the suburbs. So I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, it felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone.
Peace and greetings, family. You're listening to WHCR 90.3 FM. This is PJ's show, and I'm your host, Pojanee PJ Fleury. Today, we have a wonderful guest on who's been very active in the Haitian community, Haitian American community, and just the community in general. An advocate, a community organizer, and a strong supporter of just everyone, right? A humanitarian. Him along with his wife as well. So my guest is WILLAIR VIL, and he's going to let you know more about his organization that he runs with his wife, Capri. Welcome to the show, WILLAIR. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so very much, PJ, for inviting me to your show. It is a pleasure to have this space to talk about the work that my wife and I do on behalf of our beloved partners and collaborators in OCAP especially. The organization that we are responsible for and created back in 2011 is Rebuilding Haiti, one troop at a time. The name sounds a little boastful because we do not claim to rebuild Haiti, but at the time it's a name that we thought of because the idea then was to actually to work on the narrative that most had on Haiti. And the idea is how do we change the narrative, and from the point of view of one trip at a time, every single time we take a trip, we bring people with us. And just so when they come back home to the United States or wherever they're from, they would have a different perspective and start hopefully changing the narrative. And my wife and I traveled to Haiti for the first time in December 2010. And when we arrived in Port-au-Prince, saw the devastation of the earthquake that earlier in 2010, we traveled from Port-au-Prince by car to OCAP or Cap HAITI, as most people know. And we stayed at a resort called Comier Plage Beach Resort. When we woke up the next morning, my wife was amazed by the beauty, the how amazing the resort was. We were right there by the beach. We were on the beach, and it was amazing to find it was a nice place to be and relax and be in the moment in Haiti. And we were enjoying the time and the environment and the vibe of the garden that is Comier Plage. And my wife said, and our youngest son was with us, said, we need to do something because I'm educated. I'm an educator. We've traveled, but yet I did not know this Haiti. And we need to find a way to tell the story and help people to see for themselves this side of Haiti that we don't hear about, we don't talk about. And so from this point on, we made a commitment to actually share that story with people in our immediate circle, but extend it out. And so as of literally, I think February 2011, we started traveling and inviting people to join us in our trip. We simply organized the trips. And so to also kind of support economic development. Because while we were at the resort in that December 2010, we saw there were the UN, people from the UN staying there because it was a good place for them to stay. And we also saw that because there were a large number of people, mostly UN and other guests from Canada and Florida and other part of the U.S. and who knows where else, the fishermen were coming every morning bringing fish. And the owner, director of the resort would buy from the fishermen. And we started talking to us. So I said, well, when I have people, I have to buy more produce. I have to buy more food so that we can actually serve our guests. And we saw that as economic development. As we started to try to drive in town, we saw taxi drivers, we saw artists and other small businesses thrive. The fact that there were guests, there were visitors that they had to serve, that they had to actually sell their artwork, their arts and craft. And so we saw the potential economic development in sponsoring or in organizing those trips. So yes, when people can actually see the culture, the history of Haiti and the love of the people, their resilience, their warmth, the vibe, but also we saw it also as a way to enhance economic development in so many ways.
That is really, really amazing. It's just funny how, because of the political climate for, decades now, people don't think of Haiti as a touristic spot. And there was another brother that I've worked with for a long time. He developed spring break in Haiti. So there's been these little pockets here and there, similar to visiting Africa. From before, you would see like a handful of people promoting and taking people over there, but now there's a lot more agencies, a lot more independent travelers that are just setting up group travel to these places that are seemingly unknown, even though especially Haiti is in the backyard of the United States, and all of those islands, all of them are beautiful. And with that being said, the beauty, the majesty, just everything about, like you said, the vibe, amazing artists, there is a cloud hanging over Haiti. And as Haitians, and we talked a few days ago, as Haitians, we're getting calls like, what's going on with Haiti? Do you know why is Haiti going through, and people are really concerned, right? The community is concerned. They see Haiti as a pillar of liberty. And so many people around the world, especially those who are in movements, through community work, anything like that, they are especially, just connected to Haiti, just even mentally because of the revolutionary spirit. So right now, and I just to see what would happen, I typed in Haiti news into Google, and what came up in terms of headlines across AP News, CNN, we have Haiti gangs rampage leaves at least 12 dead in upscale neighborhoods. Vigilantes battle gangs in Port-au-Prince as Haiti's elites vie for power. This is one day ago by CNN. Mm-hmm. Gangs target peaceful communities and new rounds of attacks on Haiti's capital. That was 58 minutes ago, published by NBC News. And, it goes on. U.S.-backed plan for Haiti provides guidance but few details. That's from Politico 3 hours ago. And that one is particularly concerning for me. And all of these, I definitely invite everyone to research and read those articles in depth. But just looking at the headlines, and you are connected with people on the ground. You have been since 2010 with rebuilding Haiti. You're in a much better position to answer this. What's going on with Haiti?
So, PJ, there's a couple of ways I was going to start this. One, there are credible sources that provide answer to that question repeatedly, but I believe there are so many people with different headlines that's catching people's attention that even people that I know, they're like, oh, I didn't know this. So, for example, the Democracy Now! Did a piece says what's going on in Haiti. That is pretty in-depth, and that will give very political insight to what's going on in Haiti. There's also a piece by African Stream that also provide great details into not only what's going on now, but maybe how things got to where they are now. The thing that we have to remember, one of the things we learned, again, going back to 2010, 11, 12, our first 3-4 years taking people with us to Haiti, I need to say that I was born in Haiti, was Haiti until I was 13, and came to Brooklyn and been in the United States since then. When we first met the former Minister of Culture, who we still use currently as our quote-unquote historian, guide, and literally, some people call him the griot, because he's an artist, he's a musician, he's a writer. When he accompanied us to Citadel the first time, visited the 8th wonder of the world, right? And that is Citadel, La Ferrière, and Sanssouci, the palace. There are things that I knew being a student in Haiti. There are things we knew as being educated and well-informed people that was still a surprise to us, right? And one of the videos, there's a gentleman by the name of, I forgot his name now. He was interviewed by Gail King, and he made very specific points that also people should. Vlad, if you look for Vlad on Instagram, you can find the piece that he did. And so here's what people need to know. Haiti has always been somewhat under attack, has always been somewhere a place that is been almost on watch. So the story has to go back to 1791, the revolution, right? The story has to go back to the amazing feat of the independence in late 1803 that was celebrated officially January 1st, 1804. Well, the world didn't like that. The world didn't like that at all, because it actually created a domino effect, because in the United States, people that were enslaved, the news actually resounded. People heard the news. In fact, people in the United States started becoming afraid of potential uprising. And we do know that there's a historian by the name of Harry Jones. People can look him up. Harry is H-A-R-I Jones. He was a curator for the African American Civil War Museum in D.C., eventually the Civil Museum in Chicago. He would actually always make a connection between the Haitian Revolution and what happened here in the United States, right? And the fact is, the United States almost at least grew by another third because of the Louisiana Purchase. That would not have happened because if not for the revolution in Haiti. And people know the news, and right now it's been well chronicled, that in 1825, the world told Haiti you had to pay France for basically claiming your independence. And some people, the numbers shifted from time to time, but the number that resounds for many people still is about $100 million at least. And that was back in 1825 that Haiti had to pay to France, right? And eventually, again, that is well chronicled. This is not WILLAIR speaking out of school. In 1915, the U.S. said Haiti could not govern itself. Haiti was too poor, and they invaded Haiti and actually took the sum of, again, it's a lot more than that. People right now claiming $500,000, which is now what is Citigroup, right? And like people said, and Vlad said in his video on Instagram, all these are resources that could have helped Haiti to create structure, such as road, education, certain systems right now that are lacking that create some of the chaos we see now. And we know Haiti has not been able, we still celebrate South Africa being able to elect Nelson Mandela, right? And some would say Haiti has had a hard time truly being an independent sovereign nation to truly govern how they select their presidents. So all those are factors that people are angry about, and it's part of the result of what you see in Haiti now. So what's going on in Haiti? It's a country still trying to fight from under, being governed, being oppressed in many ways. And so the other thing also, I'm glad we had a conversation, PJ, earlier this week, that when people say Port-au-Prince, they say Haiti. It's not the same. It would be similar for somebody to say New York State or New York and think it's the entire United States, right? Now, 90% of what we're hearing is taking place in Port-au-Prince, right? And once you leave Port-au-Prince, you go to Jacmel or Les Cayes, going south, or you go north, past Gonaïves, going to Cap HAITI or Cap. Things are different. So the only reason right now, for example, there's no flight coming into Cap Haiti is because the airline decided that, you know what, it may be safe for us not to fly people in. And we just learned today that one of Sunrise, who fly people from Miami to Cap Haiti back and forth, they're actually resuming flights this weekend. So people will be able to fly from OCAP to Miami this weekend, right? And so there are so many factors involved as far as what's going on in Haiti right now that, again, I am not necessarily a historian. I'm not on the ground. I'm getting the information third party from trusted parties, but yet third party that in Cap has been thriving. In fact, right before the incidents, I would say elevated as far as in intensity, they were planning, as you said, your friend created the spring break in Haiti. They were actually prepared for spring break. The last 2 weekends, they had bands, musical acts that were actually scheduled, already paid for to perform at 4 of the largest restaurants and kind of a club in Ocap, in the Boulevard. That's Cap Deli, that's Pojanee, that's La Caille, that's Gorg. And the hotels that I know the owners of directly, and I'm not speaking about the one I do not know, like Wa Christophe, Cormier, Auberge, they were actually fully booked for those weekends. And Cap is usually fully booked from Christmas to actually early June because Flag Day is in May 18th. And so because of what was going on in Port-au-Prince and because of the state issued quote unquote warning about traveling to Haiti, guess what? The flights started canceling and all those events were shut down and canceled. So again, although OCAP doesn't have the quote unquote violence, the incident we see being recorded on a daily basis, however, they're being impacted indirectly. So guess what happened recently, PJ? A liter of gasoline in OCAP right now is nearly $9. Right? Everything has almost, went up in price. A sack of rice, beans, the basic staples are now almost impossible for people to actually access. And a couple of our dearest collaborators on the ground said, right now there's an estimate of 5 million people that may be food deprived. And there's another 50,000 that may be home deprived or without a home. And all this is related to people's unhappiness, right? And that is both the mass and the elite with the conditions politically and socially in the island. And PJ, I think what I need to help people understand who will be listening to my voice through your station, to your show, is that in August 2021, something happened in Cap people still find unbelievable. They had their official first white party in August in OCAP. Usually the white party takes place in Port-au-Prince. But because of COVID and because of the increased quote-unquote manifestation, they moved it to OCAP. Cormier, for example, had more than 1,000 people for this white party. And the entire OCAP had no hotel rooms available. Airbnb, anybody who had a room they could rent, you couldn't find a place to stay because people came from other part of Haiti and the diaspora to come for the white party. And when right before the white party is the anniversary of OCAP. And so OCAP is a thriving metropolis. In fact, the value of a home in OCAP has almost quadrupled over the past 8 years. However, when you have incidents like what's going on now, it actually impacts the entire country negatively. But again, it's because people think of Port-au-Prince, they think it's Haiti. They're not separating OCAP, Jacmel, and other provinces that can thrive when you have an issue like this.
Yes, and I know people that are living in Haiti right now as well. They're in the country. It's very calm there. They're safe. They are happy. They're eating off the land. So I really want to make that very clear that it is not the entire country that is dealing with what Port-au-Prince is dealing with, right? So yes, there are horrible things happening right now, and as one of the headlines described, it's a result of Haiti's elites, right, vying for power. So there have been some things going on recently there were efforts in the north to build a canal utilizing the river that separates Haiti and Dominican Republic. That caused a lot of static, let's just call it. There are people that have been working diligently, sending donations to make sure that that canal can be built and water can be irrigated for that area for a number of things, but definitely to produce food that is needed. And again, that caused a whole big issue with DR. DR was not happy about this. There was, some energy that DR was giving that maybe they would invade Haiti because of this. And as a result, Kenya was commissioned to come in and provide some support to Haiti. So I saw that as the people moving the needle, because this canal was people-led completely, and it was not government sanctioned, right? It was not ordered by the government. These were the people that said, hey, we need this canal, right? So I thought that was major progress. The African countries that have more resources stepping up to assist Haiti, and now you don't even hear anything about that. You're only hearing about the unrest in Port-au-Prince. Talk a little bit about those kinds of efforts by the people to advance Haiti and the pushback.
Yes, Peach, thank you for that. I think sometimes we underestimate the resilience and I would say the boldness and the activism within the people in Haiti. There are a couple of people on Instagram that people can follow. One is Beth Food. She's a sister who's always reporting on the canal. And you're right, the canal was people-led. And the canal is doing really, really well. Early on, there was a struggle with the DR. Did not want the water to be quote-unquote, routed so that the farmers in the Plateau Central or Wango Naive to actually get irrigation toward the farm so they can actually thrive, right? And, for example, there's another story also in Okap when early on in 2015, 16, 17, when the manifestation started in Port-au-Prince, and there were fear that, some of the issues going on in Port-au-Prince will go in Okap. The people in the mayor's office Okap will say it wasn't necessarily police or the elected officials or people that were in leadership that protected Okap. It was people. The people in Okap stood up and said, what happened in Port-au-Prince is not going to happen here, and we're being very vigilant. And so if they saw someone in Okap that was not a local or that may have bad intention, the people themselves stood up and actually stopped whatever may have been initiated or targeted for Okap.
Absolutely. So if someone wanted to support organizations that are on the ground, because that's always been a huge concern, right? And rightfully so, that when people want to help, they're very genuine. 2010, people were digging into their savings to support Haitians and try to get money directly to Haitians. They asked a ton of questions. Even organizations that I worked with, people were coming to me and asking me what organizations should they donate to, and they asked me, 20 questions to really, really make sure that money got directly to the people. So what can you say about that? And also just share how people can support directly your work.
So I would say there's a reason for people to be cautious, and there's a reason for people to do their own research, right? And I would say not every organization that you hear may be reputable. And I would say you have to be cautious. And even when we first started doing this work in Haiti, people were cautious of us, and as they should be. And the only thing that gave us trust with the people on the ground is because they've seen us consistently since 2011. Not only we show up with people and a diverse group of people, all ages, right? And they also saw that the commitment we've made, for example, to support Marius Levy School, 20 plus students, and the support we provide to artists and artisans, and even the restaurant and hotel owners. when we show up, the people that are the servers, that are the staff at those locations, we don't treat them as poor Haitians. We treat them as human beings like us, people we connect with, people we have real conversation with, real relationship with.
Yes, absolutely. And also on Instagram, you can find Rebuilding Haiti.
Yes, you can find Rebuilding Haiti on Instagram. You can find Kiskeyano on Instagram. Rebuilding Haiti is my wife, although not Haitian. She's actually more passionate and joyful about this story than I can ever be. And so thanks to her that I feel myself motivated every single day more and more to talk about this and to do this work. And I'm Kiskeyano, which is KISKEIANO on Instagram. Yes.
Thank you again, WILLAIR St. VIL, for joining us today on PJ's show. It's been an enlightening conversation. So
PJ, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity and the space to actually, for my voice to be heard on this issue, and continue to stay in the fight and sharing information that would help people to actually provide the support that they want to provide.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. And this has been WHCR 90.3 FM, PJ Show with your host, Pojanee PJ Fleury. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Peace.
Haïti chérie, bi bon pays passé ou nan point. Fok mwen te kite ou, pou mwen te kapab comprendre valeur. Fok mwen te laisse ou, pou mwen te kapab apprécier ou. Pour me sentir vraiment tout ça ou payé pour moi. Haïti chérie, bi bon pays.